gotta make it out to Vegas, where the lights shine bright. Vegas, in the clear desert night. Vegas, where they can make you a star. Vegas, at the NFR.
NFR Extra is a podcast dedicated to the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo and features icons and personalities that embody the Western lifestyle.
And I got here June of 52.
Do you have any idea, how many people were here in Vegas at that time?
35,000.
Wow.
The first year it didn't sell out. The second year it didn't sell out. The third year it was about 95%. And since the fourth year on, it's going to sell out for the last 36 years, I guess.
Yeah.
If you don't count Texas, I've only missed 6 performances in the 39 years.
Wow.
This is Brylan Bentley, and you're listening to NFR Extra.
Well, what do you want to know? I got to Las Vegas the first time in 1944.
1944.
Yeah, well, I was 1 year old, and my dad hadn't seen me. He was stationed at the Las Vegas Air Base, and I stayed at the El Cortez in 1944 for 2 weeks, or a week, about a week and a half, I think. I was 1 year old. I don't remember it.
Yeah. So, give us some of your earliest memories of Vegas, though. Because obviously that's 8 decades ago.
My wife, mother, and father, and her sister and husband moved to Las Vegas in late '49. So I was here the summer of 50 and 51, visiting them. My father bought into the Flamingo Hotel in November of 1951, and he and my brother moved out to Las Vegas in that November. I could not get into the Catholic school, which there was one because the nuns could not get on their desk in the classroom. And my Irish Catholic grandmother would not let me move to Las Vegas until June of 52.
Wow.
And that's when I got here June of 52.
Do you have any idea, how many people were here in Vegas at that time?
35,000.
Wow.
It was a very small town.
Huh.
And it was primarily an LDS town. The Mormons ran everything, and did a great job doing it, and they let the gamblers alone.
Yeah. Where did you decide to continue on in the casino business as you got older, growing up here in Las Vegas?
Well, my grandfather ran roadhouses back in Nebraska and in Iowa, so I'm a third generation.
Wow.
A gambler. No, I started. I think I went to work the first time when I was about 14. I worked at the Flamingo Hotel pool, and then I had one summer as a busboy, and then I spent 4 years in the kitchen, so in the summers.
Man, literally starting on all aspects of hotel properties, from the pool to the kitchen, gambling, the entire deal.
I didn't get the deal until I was 21.
Wow.
It was much nicer.
Yeah. beats the kitchen.
Right. By a long shot.
Did you ever in your wildest dreams, growing up and seeing this incredible city grow the way that it has, that it would be where it's at now?
No, I was pretty liberal, and I think, I knew it was going to get bigger, but I never had, I had no idea it was going to become like this. And my dad definitely did not believe it was going to become like this.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's better or not, but it's different.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like anytime you visit one of your properties, you have something for everyone, Mr. Gaughan. And do you think that stems from your work experience? Because you take care of high rollers, but you also want the person that's playing nickel slots to have a good time. So where does that stem from?
Oh, I come out of the local market. My father, even though my father was was an owner of the Flamingo. He spent very little time out there, and he was a downtown operator, which meant more with the local people, and the local people are are smaller gamblers, but there's a Chinese Red Army of them. So I spent. When I graduated Creighton University, I went to work at the El Cortez in June of 1965
Wow.
on the graveyard shift, and I became a minority partner. And I think in '67, that was my first license. And then before I left there, I was a shift boss on graveyard, and because I did the scheduling for the dealers, they gave me the title of casino manager with no extra pay.
Perfect.
Here's a promotion, but
Yeah.
you don't get any more money.
Just like the banks. And in about 1972, I left there, and I joined up with my partner Frank Tody, and we opened up. We leased a portion of a Royal Inn hotel on Convention Center Drive, and put a casino in the Royal Inn Casino, and we ran that for about 7 years. And by the end of the 7 years, I sold in '79, and I built and opened up the Barbary Coast in 1979.
So where did that name and concept come from? Because I don't really think of Vegas having a coast, but I would love to know where that name came from.
The Barbary Coast came somewhat out of the red light gaming district in San Francisco.
Mm.
It did not come from Morocco.
Okay.
I remember my architects that I used an outfit who had an office in San Francisco, and they wanted to give me a Moroccan theme. I said, no, go out and the problem was that the Barbary Coast area of San Francisco was not a very pretty area. It was old Victorian houses where they had gutted the ground floor for the drinking and the gambling, and the upstairs for the girls.
Ah.
Well, so we did. I said, we're going to do a very Victorian theme, and when we're done, we're going to slap the name Barbary Coast on it, and that'll be Barbary Coast architecture. And the Barbary Coast was highly successful on that corner.
Yeah.
Right.
And that was kind of the beginning of really getting the momentum of what you have now going?
It was the first place that I owned that I walked in at 9 o'clock in the morning. There was business already there.
Wow.
But every place else I was at was the hardest part was getting it started.
Yeah.
And that started the whole line of the Coast casinos,
Yeah.
correct?
Yep, we went from the Barbary Coast to the Gold Coast to the Orleans to the Sun Coast. The South Coast was started under Coast. I had merged with Boyd, and the South Coast opened up under Boyd. And then I took it back in 2006 when I split with Boyd, and renamed it the South Point.
The South Point. And what was with the location of the South Point? And this is hard to say without kissing up too much. But what I absolutely love about the South Point is that it still has like a very familiar vibe. It's got a very traditional Vegas feel. And the interesting thing is pretty much every person that's in that hotel, if you asked them who they work for, it's not going to be I work for, the casino name. It'll be I work for Mr. Michael Gaughan.
Well, I've been here a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I have a lot of long-time employees. When I took the South Coast back and left Boyd, I took a lot of my main people with me from the other hotels.
So with that being said, too, where did the passion for equestrian fall in line with this whole deal? Because we've got to go back to '85, where you were a big advocate for bringing the national finals here. Was that prior to that?
That's legend.
Okay.
No, the person who brought the national finals to Las Vegas was Benny Binion.
Mm-hmm.
The Binions and the Gaughans were close. I went to school with three of the kids, three of his kids. Uh, but I had nothing. When I got inducted into the Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame, they give me credit for partial credit for bringing the rodeo. I lent them my airplane to fly the dignitaries to Colorado Springs on I think two, three, maybe four trips. That was my only involvement.
Wow.
And in 1987, I was invited to join Las Vegas events. I turned it down. Mr. Binion called me and told me to change my mind. And I've been on Las Vegas events since '87, and I was appointed to the National Final Rodeos Committee, the NFRC, in 1987. And I'm the longest serving member on both boards.
Wow.
So obviously we never got a chance to meet him, but I'm guessing when Mr. Binion calls you and tells you to change your mind, it's just yes, sir, correct?
He was always very nice to me, and anytime if ever needed anything, he never turned me down. Had lunch with him. I'm saying the Binions and the Gaughans were kind of raised together. I like our homes were a couple blocks apart, and I went to school with. I went to grade school and high school with Brenda, Ted, and Becky. Jack was I think Jack's 6, 7 years older than me, and Barbara was older than Jack. So it's in fact, I just had lunch with Jack Binion 4 days ago.
Wow.
And I'm sure there were some times early on where maybe the group of you were nervous as to how this all started. The NFR.
So in December in Las Vegas, the town would shut down. From the Thanksgiving weekend until Christmas Day, it was a morgue here. And all the showrooms were closed. You'd furlough the people. You'd change the carpet. You'd paint the walls. You'd do any room remodeling you wanted to do. There was no business at all between Thanksgiving and Christmas. And Benny Binion kept preaching about if you bring the rodeo here, it'll change things. And Benny, we stole the rodeo from Oklahoma City. And it was and it's been there and it changed December around. I remember the Gold Coast. December became my best month every year.
Really?
And December isn't supposed to be your best month, but it really it gave us 12 months a year instead of 11 months a year.
And so that was instantaneous. As soon as the rodeo came, that was
It took. I think the first year it didn't sell out. The second year it didn't sell out. The third year it was about 95%. And since the fourth year on, it's been a sellout for the last 36 years, I guess.
Yeah.
Rodeo has been at this would have been the 40th year, but we lost the 1 year to the COVID when the rodeo went to Texas. So the rodeo has been there 39 years.
Let's take a quick pause, and we'll be right back. Do you need a dose of social? A dash of insider info? Then the National Finals Rodeo social network is set up just for you. Get updates, insights, unique content, and much more on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. You can find us at /Las Vegas NFR. And be sure to use hashtag Wrangler NFR on your posts and tweets. There's something for all rodeo fans. 40 years in Vegas, the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo.
Are there any early memories that you remember when the NFR first came here that kind of stick out to you?
Well, I remember I'd stopped going to rodeos. I went to rodeos in Nebraska when I was a kid, and I went to the rodeos around here, and they weren't very exciting. And my wife made me go to the first rodeo in '85. I got there halfway through the bareback riding. If you don't count Texas, I've only missed 6 performances in the 39 years.
Wow.
So it's a great rodeo. I'm glad I got involved in it. Like I'm saying, they talk about me bringing the rodeo, but I had. But I've been with the rodeo, and the Gold Coast kind of became the home of the rodeo for a while. and when I built the Orleans, they wanted to bring the convention there, but the Orleans did not have the facilities for what they needed. I finally got the PRCA convention in 2006, when I opened up the South Point.
And did you have any idea the ancillary events that would come with that? Because I remember early on going to the World Series of team roping with my dad, and it just seems
that came what happened. Well, the Gold Coast got we took the nightly go around buckle a celebration from Caesar's Palace, I think in about 87. I think it was there for about 3 years as Caesars, and they moved it to the Gold Coast. And the reason I think Caesars was selling their beer for $8-10. I was selling my beer for $2.
Wow.
And so the first big thing I got involved in was the nightly go around presentation, which is huge.
okay.
And then I got involved more with the Cowboys, and most of the sponsors all stayed at the Gold Coast, and the Gold Coast kind of became the home of the Cowboys. When I moved to the South Point, I got the convention, and then with the equestrian arena, things grew. I think the first World Series of team roping was about two less than 300 horses or teams.
Yes, sir.
Now it's over 5,000 teams.
Yes, sir.
Unbelievable.
I think last year it paid out 19,700,000, which made it the biggest equestrian event in the history of equestrian events.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Or I should say, a quarter horse equestrian events. I'm sorry.
And it just seems like it continues to bust at the seams.
Well, the problem I have is that I've offered them the hotel for free if they started after the rodeo, but they want to be here at the same time as the rodeo. So if you've been here, in December, I got the team roping starts on Saturday, and the rodeo starts on Thursday. The team roping starts on Saturday. Besides the buckles and the convention, I have I got the Miss Rodeo America contest. I do the World Championship of the girls breakaway roping here. You can't after 10 days, actually almost 14 days, you can't move in there.
Yeah. It's been some time ago. I think it probably over 12, 13 years ago, but I was a part of the Benny Binion Buck and Horse and Bull sale that was there.
Yeah.
And that was one of the greatest things I ever thought, just to be namesake. I still have the buckle that says it on there, and they'd give us, card holders, silver engraved card holders with Benny Binion with the big buffalo coat on. And the history of that is just so impressive to go, it's like there's still a spirit that's involved that you don't find anywhere else.
Down to we're down to 1 day of the sale now. The sale's kind of weakened a little bit, and now it's 1 day, but we still have it. My equestrian arena does about 46, 47 events a year, and 43 are equestrian.
Wow. Yeah, and the stalls that are, all climate controlled stalls, and I don't want to overspeak, but I want to say there's like 1,500 stalls.
1,200. There's 1,200 stalls.
Okay.
During the World Series of team roping, we put up a 3,000 temporary stalls.
Wow.
But the World Series of team roping is is huge.
Yeah. I wanted to say one thing when you were talking about the rodeo and how the rodeo had grown, and for 36 years it's been sold out. Something else that seems to really gain a lot of traction, drawing people in. They might not go to the rodeo, but they're going to the the viewing parties there.
Well, we get that. That was a battle. I fought with the first commissioner was a fellow named Lou Cryer. We took the rodeo from start on Saturday to start on Thursday and ending on Saturday, and we got the team ropers equal money. We got the barrel racers equal money with the other people, but he would never go for the for the closed circuit TV. He was always afraid it would hurt attendance. When he retired, we brought the closed circuit in, and it just made the rodeo bigger. Most hotels buy the closed circuit TV,
Right.
and the closed circuit TV is separate from the Cowboy Channel, and it's and you get the complete rodeo with everything with no commercials. So the viewing parties have become quite big at all hotels.
Outside of the rodeo, something that I think is very unique and awesome about your property is the amount of bowling that goes on. Where did that vision come from?
I did my first bowling alley at the Gold Coast, and then I built one at the Orleans. I built one at the Suncoast. I built one here. My bowling manager talked me, and we in fact want to build a tournament center at the Orleans. We already had preliminary plans drawn to bring in the Congress, the men's open and the women's open as a separate tournament center. There are only 2 tournament centers in the country. I say tournament center that just does tournaments. I have one, and Reno has one.
Wow.
And versus the men's open last year was over 60,000 bowlers for almost 6 months.
Wow.
And so just bowlers, and then however many people they bring with them too.
Yeah, well, they think there's they average about 1 person with them, and they're and bowling always seems to do well. I'm also in the Billiard and Bowling Hall of Fame.
Wow. Well, congratulations to that. Yeah.
Brunswick nominated me, and I thought it was kind of a joke. And they do 1 person a year, black tie dinner at Greenbrier. Probably of all halls of men was probably the nicest dinner.
It's a good location to go have dinner.
And I'm in there with Paul Newman and Jackie Gleason.
No kidding.
I am jealous of that.
Yeah. And but the bowling seems to do well in good times and bad times. Bowling just seems to just stay. Bowling is still cheap.
Right.
But the bowling got her because of a fellow named Mike Moniak, bowling manager, and he was a professional bowler one time, and he kept after me about going after these 2 events. And now we have the men's open every 3rd year and the women's open every 3rd year.
Wow.
And I say and so there's 2 bowling alleys in this hotel.
That's impressive. And to have that turnover and to have the amount of people that are coming in there, and it's a very valid point too of, you
1,200 people a day.
Wow. Very impressive.
Well, going back to the everyman theme that we feel like you have in your properties, I think it's awesome that if you want a cheeseburger at Steak and Shake, you can eat there. If you want a very special night with your family and you get the opportunity to go to Michael's, it is, in my opinion,
been to Michael's.
Yes, sir. It is a fantastic place. I've been there with my parents before, and it is at the top of my list of places to enjoy fine dining.
I had dinner in Michael's last night with Lee Greenwood.
Oh,
Did you really?
That's awesome.
Lee was an entertainer in town, and when he wasn't working, he used to deal on Graveyard at the El Cortez.
Wow.
Yeah. And by 1970, 71, he was somewhat unhappy with his career. I tried to talk him into coming into gambling, and he said no, he was going to go to Nashville and give it one last shot. And I advised him not to go.
Huh.
I've not advised anybody else since.
That's that he's an incredible artist, and I'm glad that it didn't work out for the gambling side of it, so that we're fortunate enough to have the voice and the words of Lee Greenwood for the nation. It's kind of been our nation's anthem, like second national anthem.
I was just at a rodeo in Tucson, and they opened up with it. It was Tucson's 100th year.
Wow.
We're having rodeos, and they opened up with Proud to Be an American. He's in town singing at 3 different conventions.
Wow.
Three nights he's opening up the three conventions with that song. So we did. Didn't start here at 7:30 last night.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely. I know that he's got a schedule here in Vegas, but I tell you what, he's a smart man because making time to go to Michael's with the man himself, always make time for that one.
I've known he's very nice, very very nice guy. I think Lee is. I'll be 82 next month. I think Lee's 83.
Wow.
Well,
So I've known Lee over 50 years.
Well, on behalf of us, Mr. Gaughan, we truly appreciate everything that you do, not just for the NFR, but for the cowboy way of life, because every time we're invited to stay at your property, it just seems to get better and better each and every time we're there.
Thank you very much. And I guess you know Ryan,
Yes, sir. Oh, we love Ryan.
Cowboy Ryan. Yep. Now, next time you come to town, we'll try to have lunch together.
That sounds perfect. Thank you, Mr. Gaughan.
And thank you for inviting me.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Bye.
Want to experience more of the NFR? Then visit NFRexperience.com, and we invite you to subscribe to NFR Extra on Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and wherever you're listening right now. If you like what you've heard on NFR Extra, we would love it if you gave us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe.